Welcome to experimentation from home, but it's a video, and I'm doing it. We're going to revisit our duckweed experiment from last week, and I'm going to share the progress with you as well as some modifications to the method, if you will, that we're going to make because we got some interesting results. But as usual, I need to put on my safety equipment first. This isn't it. Let's try again. Okay, we're a little bit closer now. This would protect me in my kitchen setting, but let's try this. Okay, that's what we were looking for. Alright, let's first check out the results for the duckweed experiment and discuss what happened as well as future steps. These are some pretty interesting results that we got from the duckweed experiment. All of the trials for the neutral pH saw like a double an increase in the number of plants as well as an increase in the number of total leaves. It was really kind of telling from after not even maybe 48 hours the progress with or what I could expect with the vinegar trials, where all of the leaves basically exploded off of the plants and became individuals and began bleaching. In some of these cups, even more surprisingly, they've been in here long enough that they've started to rot and there's fungus that is working on decomposing them. What this tells me is that even the 1% vinegar solution was way too acidic, and that informs me of ways that I can change my design so that I can get a better understanding of the effect of acidity on the growth and reproduction of duckweed. In our normal classroom, what we would usually do is just keep moving on and call the results what they were. But since this is a more interesting experience doing distance learning and having unlimited opportunity to do experimentation, I'm going to walk you through what really happens in science. Based on these results, even though in the 3 different conditions with vinegar, all the plants died, that doesn't mean that the experiment was a failure. In fact, it actually informs me that I need to modify my procedure and the design of my experiment to test a more narrow range of pH or narrow range of vinegar in the water. So I'm going to repeat this experiment the same exact way, but start with 1% as my strongest concentration and do serial dilutions thereafter to see if vinegar really is an effective method of controlling duckweed growth. I will be testing 1 neutral, 3 acid, and 3 base conditions with 4 trials in each. And now it's time to pour my carefully measured and carefully prepared solutions into the cups. Okay, so clearly that was just me playing around, but in reality what I'm going to be doing is putting a 1/4 cup of each solution into each trial. First starting with the tap water, which is going to be my neutral pH. As I said before when I was analyzing the results from the original duckweed experiment, I now understand what I have to do to modify my procedure. What we're doing with this duckweed is using it as a model for understanding disturbances within ecosystems. For example, if the pH changes in an aquatic ecosystem. Models are only as good as our assumptions, and the assumption that I have based off of the original experiment is that 1% of vinegar is way too strong. By lowering the concentrations, I will hopefully be able to see if the duckweed is able to survive and there's acidity in their environments. Now that I've properly measured and poured my acid solutions into each of the cups, I'm going to repeat the same procedure but using a basic substance that we find in our houses as well to see what effect that the opposite side of the pH scale has on duckweed growth and reproduction. Now, in terms of things that we find around our house that fall on the pH scale, our food typically tends to be on the acid side, whereas our cleaning products are on the basic side. Don't consume cleaning products, it's not good for your health. And in fact, I'm going to share a brief clip with you of a nightmare that I saw one Christmas. I couldn't find the actual footage, but when I was a child, I saw a news story on a Christmas day of a man who was trying to commit suicide by drinking bleach, and rather than dying, he lost his stomach and had to have his small intestine surgically attached to the back of his throat and can no longer consume solid food. So, since I'm using bleach in these drinking wares, I do plan on washing them thoroughly before I use them again, because I definitely don't want to put myself at risk. This is why it's very important to follow safe lab procedures and understand the types of chemicals and solutions that you're using in a lab setting so that you can protect yourself and avoid the same kind of fate. Never consume materials that are in a lab setting under any circumstances. As you can see, I'm adding 5 healthy duckweeds to each of the different trials, and I plan to count the leaves and plants. Just as before, I'm going to continue to record data on an almost daily basis, probably not every single day, and I'll update you on how the growth and reproduction of the duckweed goes in the environments. After I let you go, I'll add the fertilizer and the carbon source so that they can do photosynthesis and get kind of a head start for adjusting to their new environments. Until later.